Where did you grow up and what was life like before tennis entered the picture?
I grew up in India, a city called Indore in Madhya Pradesh. And before tennis, I don't really remember. I don't have a lot of memories because it was before second grade. My mom put me into different activities like Kathak, classical dancing. I did skating as a hobby, swimming lessons during summers. So before tennis, it was more like a lot of activities, a lot of summer classes, a lot of summer homeworks, and just going to school, enjoying with friends, and then coming back. Tennis was never on the radar for me before when I was 7 years old. So just a very carefree childhood and living in a joint family. So a lot of fun stuff and just a normal Indian childhood.
That makes sense. And how did you know that tennis was what you wanted to pursue?
So my mom put me into tennis because I had weak bones. So I could have more activity because through classical dancing, through skating, I was just burnt out a lot as a kid. And she wanted me to pick up a racket sport that would help me gain more bone strength, improve my agility and everything. So that's when I started playing tennis. And it used to be 2 sessions per week just for the focus that I could help improve my breathing, help improve my strength, and help improve my just physical ability. And then uh, it started to get more serious when I won the first tournament when I was 7 years or 8 years old in the fourth grade. And that's how I entered the tennis circuit in India.
Oh wow. And so you entered the tennis circuit at what? In middle school?
Yes, so I don't know if it was middle school, but it was fourth grade, and tennis became serious when my coach and my mom put me into a random MP state ranking. It's like every state in India has a ranking every season. That's twice a year, and I participated into that, and then that led me to be selected into the state level nationals that I get to represent my state versus all of the other states in India. So that's how I started playing. I was the youngest in my state ever to get selected for nationals. And I used to play singles that time. There was no doubles. So it was under 12. And then that's how I became serious about tennis. I started with from 2 sessions per week to like 3 hours every morning. And as soon as I was able to gain more strength, be more on the court, I was able to do 3 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the evening. So strength training, hitting the balls, and then different drills, and then playing competitive matches in front of people with different athletes, different players. So I get the exposure before I go out and perform in a tournament.
That's a lot. How did that affect your school life then? Because that's like 7 hours of tennis right there.
Yeah, that's a good question. I did not have a once I started playing professional tennis at the age of 8 years or 9 years old, I did not have much of a school life. When I entered like seventh grade or eighth grade, most of my friends were making 3 a.m. memories, but I was waking up at 5 a.m. for tennis lessons. So school was really homeschooled. I just showed up to school when there was an exam or I had to show up for a test. Otherwise, all of my teachers used to send me notes. All of my friends helped me send me notes. So I used to study after like between from 12 to 3 p.m. That's where I used to study for test or for exams. But school was never really, I was basically homeschooled till like sophomore year in high school. So till like for 6 to 7 years, there was no school life for me. It was just tennis tournaments and people that I met during my tennis journey.
Oh wow. And how did that affect you mentally, like knowing that you had to sacrifice so much for tennis? I would assume you must have loved the sport a lot, right?
Yeah, you have to love the sport a lot. You have to enjoy the sport a lot to be mentally uh, really, I think you develop a lot of resilience in tennis. And that's one thing that I think you can carry it on throughout your life. So it affected my mental health a lot. In the starting, I got more strength, because in India, as more tennis, as more tournaments I played and more matches I won, I got up in the ranking. So it was all about ranking. I was India number 13 at the age of when I was 14 years old.
The whole
So
country?
yes,
Oh wow.
the Indian, it was called ITA, it's All India Tennis Association. So mentally it affected, it was like the graph was like up when I started winning tournaments, but it became tougher when you grow older, when the circuit gets bigger and then there's more competition, because when I was younger there was not many players that wanted to play tennis, but now everybody wants to play tennis. So mentally it became draining at one point, because it was about two tournaments in 1 month, and the tournaments didn't even happen in my state. So you have to travel. There are different weather conditions. There's humidity. There's wind conditions. So mentally, it did become tough, but you have to gain that strength. And in my journey, I also consulted a sports psychologist when I had a point where I was not able to handle it. When at a point where I was not able to get fame, get ranking, get more matches, and get my ranking up. So I did consult a sports psychologist, but mentally, tennis, I would say 70% is a mental game and 30% is physical, because when you lose a point, you can't just stick to that point. You have to like think about the next point. If a player, I mean, the greatest players in the world, like Djokovic, he's known for the mental strength, right? So you can't just stick to one point. You have to move on to, if you're in that spiral, then you can never focus on the present point. So mentally, you need a lot of mental strength. You need a lot of resilience, and you need a lot of support from your parents, from your coaches, and from sports psychologists.
Would you say that the sports psychologist helped a lot? Like, did
I
it put
think
you in the
so.
right
Yeah.
direction?
Yeah, I think so. She helped me a lot. I tried 2, 3 sports psychologists, but I was really uh, the third one worked for me. So it took me a while to settle with a sports psychologist based on the techniques that they used and what you're going through in your sports journey. So when I was 16 years old, I was not able to perform well, because in India, people used to say you either go pro or you just leave tennis. You either like just leave tennis. But at that time, I really was not even into academics. So for me, it was nothing that means like I did not even have academics, because I was not studying for many years. So I had no option about that. So I was really stuck in the middle, but I consulted a sports psychologist. And the reason I consulted was because I had anger issues on court as a tennis player. There's you need to regulate your emotions a lot, and I was not able to do that. So when I consulted her, she was able to help me with, for example, we created like smart goals, which were measurable, which was short term, and which could give me more performance rather than more ranking. So I consulted her and used to have sessions once in every week, before every session, before every tournament. I used to talk to her about, because I was not able to regulate my emotions. I was not able to validate my emotions before the match, the pressure that you go before the match, and the even if you lose after the match, the upset and getting stuck on that. So I used to get stuck on my losses a lot. So she helped me understand a lot of, she helped me regulate my emotions a lot. So I did consult a sports psychologist. And because of that, when I consulted her, I was able to see a bigger picture of what tennis really means to me. Tennis was my identity. I used to think that tennis is the only thing. If I don't play tennis, then there's nothing. But then I found out ways that I could take tennis into the future, like college tennis, and then playing tennis for leisure and teaching tennis in college. So I'm glad that because I hit a rock bottom, and that's when I consulted my sports psychologist.
That's really cool. And I would assume like it helped you off the court as well with like just your personality
I
overall.
agree. I agree, because in be it if you lose a season, if you lose a match, or even if I'm currently working as a corporate in manufacturing industry, like if you lose a job, if you get rejected from a job, you develop that mindset of like not giving up. And I think it helped me develop like the sport, the losses and the wins. It helped me develop focus, it helped me develop discipline, and it helped me develop that resilience. Like, it's okay to lose. You're not going to win every time. Even in life, you're not going to get everything you want to in life. So I think you're right. It really helped me off court as well.
That's very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Moving on to your college, like how was it like the transition from India to ASU? Because that's like a whole different country, a whole different life, I feel like.
Yeah, it was different. It's not what I expected it would be, because the decision that I took to come to US was um a, like, I was scared because none of my family, nobody has ever studied abroad. I was the first ever in my family to be abroad and come for sports, not for just academics. So, because in India, you have your parents, you have your coaches, you have your teachers to help you academically and drive you places, and there's nutrition, there's a lot of support in India that I got. But coming here, there was a cultural shock that I got. uh, there were different kind of peoples, like diverse backgrounds, so that was different. And also in India, the biggest difference that I felt was in India, I was playing for myself, I was playing for my ranking, I was playing like an individual sport. But when I came to US, it was about more about the team spirit. It was more about, you go to the court, you train, you do all of that because you want to get your team up. You don't want to just get yourself up. So I really developed that team, that collaboration skill in US. So it was a lot of it was different, but I'm glad I did it because I learned a lot. I met my best friend through tennis, and I met amazing people through tennis.
That's very nice. And like, did you ever struggle with the same things in high school as you did in college tennis, or was it a lot different then?
I think it was different because in my school time, when I was young, when I was a teenager, I used to struggle a lot regarding fame. And when you're used to getting your name in the newspaper, you're getting used to like getting trophies at home and getting that collection. There is constant support, there is constant validation that you get from your parents. But when you don't perform well, there's like, you don't get a lot of support in India. I did not get a lot of support when I hit rock bottom. But in America, the struggle was different. Even when I used to lose, I had my team to support me. I had my coaches to support me. And in college, you also get nutrition, you also get sports psychologists. So there's a lot. I think there was a lot of support in different like mentors. Like there was alumni sports players that you could talk to. If you're hitting a rock bottom, or if you want to talk about like a specific school. So the struggles were a lot different. I would say in US, I struggled more with cultural background, with language, but it was nice. It was a bittersweet experience, but it was all worth it.
Okay. So like overall the community was a lot stronger at college than it was in high school.
I think so. I think US really gave me that platform to uh, not just win, but to lose also and be there for the teammates. So a lot of support in the US. And in India, it was less support because in India that time tennis was not a very common sport. But now when I see it, I'm really proud of it, and I'm really happy that now everybody wants to play tennis, and there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of tournaments that happen in India. And I'm sure now mental health is a big thing in India as well. So it's good to see that growth in India as well.
That's very cool.
Mhm.
And you touched on this a bit earlier as well, but like apart from resilience, would you say there's any other thing that you took from tennis into your own life, just like personal wise?
I think I mentioned three things: resilience, focus, and discipline. I would say discipline is the biggest thing ever that I still carry it on. Not just me, I think every athlete, be it any sport, who's played any sport or any been on the field, been on the tracks, I think you develop that focus and you develop that discipline. You have to show up for something that you decided to show up for. You don't get to give yourself excuses. And you also have to sit with your feelings of when in because in an when you're an athlete, you just don't win, you lose a lot also. And when you lose, you can't just like forget that. You have to sit with that emotion, you have to sit with that low feeling. So whenever I feel low in my life for like anything else, I learned that it's okay to be low, but you have other options. You have other things that you can, try and have a solution for it. So tennis really taught me that you don't just have one solution for a problem, you have different paths that you can take. And the second thing, the most important thing is discipline, like waking up at 5 a.m. and making sure that you're still active. I still play tennis. I still go to the gym. So discipline is one of the things that make you like a whole as a person, that keeps you on track, that just make gives you a happy living, I guess, a good lifestyle.
That makes a lot of sense. And
Mm-hmm.
then one last question similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
If a younger girl asked you for advice on chasing the D1 tennis dream, what would you say?
That's a good question. I think I would say you've played tennis more than you've done anything else in your life, and you've been on court more hours than you've been off court, I think, in terms of training, in terms of physios, in terms of mental strength and physical strength. So own it, and you'll do great. Just have that resilience, just have that it's okay attitude. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to not be winning every tournament, every match. So just own it and go out there and enjoy every ball, and just enjoy every match, and create a lot of friendships, because that'll last more longer. Tennis will last, but after a few years, when you graduated from D1, you'll meet people and you'll still have that tennis court and that racket to play with them. So make a lot of friends and just enjoy playing and travel a lot. Take opportunity, take that, if you get an option of traveling somewhere, just take it, because you'll just love it, and later you'll realize that you got so much exposure, so much experience through those uh, experiences, and you'll never regret that.
That's very nice. Thank you so much. That was my last question. Thank you
Thank,
so much for your time.
thank you. Atif.
Bye.
Bye.